Hey everyone, welcome to another awesome interview edition of the Electronic Cafe. Me and Mark had the great fortune to talk to Jez, Donald and Martin, the mighty A Certain Ratio. Mate, 40 plus years of doing it, and they're going nowhere soon, are they? They are just absolutely nailing it at the moment.
Well, they're really prolific at the moment. I mean, they brought out an album 1982 last year, which featured in our top 30 albums of the year. They brought out this new album, their 13th album this year. In between, there was releases of remixes and extended versions. They just seem really prolific. And I think since they signed to Mute Records, they found another lease of life. I mean, they're just flying at the moment.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, that first track on this new album, it wouldn't look out of place on a Blur album, right? It's just like amazing. I mean, each track. And the fact they did it they laid the 10 tracks down in 12 hours is...
That's phenomenal. I mean...
great musicians they are.
You've got it behind you. I mean, I've got it here. We both got a nice signed print, which is really good. I mean, they do what they do best. I mean, they're a mixture of like indie and funk and soul and jazz. And each song has got their DNA, but somehow it sounds different as well. It's just a brilliant sounding album, and I wouldn't be surprised if this album features later in the year in our Albums of the Year chart again.
Oh God, yeah, definitely. I mean, as you say, I think this album 1982 is quite a funkier number. This is much more back to grassroots, but it makes it no less than a powerful album. I think it's the best thing they've done for a very, very long time. So
I mean, it's a bit more stripped down than their last album, but it's no worse for it. It sounds phenomenal, and by the time this goes out, we're seeing them in a couple of days' time. By the time this episode goes out, we would have seen them in London, and I just love talking to Jez, Donald, and Martin. They're just really great guys.
They are. They're the absolute nuts. As you say, three of the nicest guys you couldn't wish to meet. So shall we let our lovely EC people see what all the conversation was about, bud?
Indeed. Everybody, A Certain Ratio.
I mean, 1982, I think I bought it twice because I had the orange one, and then I saw the smoky one. And I thought, oh, that looks really nice as well. So I bought that one as well. But
Welcome to another Legends interview edition of the Electronic Cafe. We are so delighted that for the second time, the amazing Don, Martin, and obviously this time we've got Jez here as well, which is great. The amazing A Certain Ratio. They're here to talk about this stunning new album, and I'm telling you guys now, it is absolutely stunning. It all comes down to this. Gents, welcome to the Electronic Cafe. So good to have you here. Jez, just a quick question for you, mate. I mean, 5 years ago when you guys started, did you think you'd be as relevant? And I actually think you're probably more relevant today. Did you think that back in when you started this journey?
I don't know, really. We were pretty young then, so you just think about the next day, really. But I knew that we'd be doing it for as long as we could do it. Yeah. We managed to survive this long, so yeah.
And Martin, I'll direct this one to you. So this is your 13th studio album, but this is the first one where it's just you three involved in the recording process.
Paul, who looks after us at Mute, he suggested to us that we do an album with just the three of us, we thought about it and we thought, that's quite a good idea, that. And you know, we're not cutting anyone out of the equation. The last two albums, we've collaborated with a lot of people on them, and it is really nice to have the space to write, record, and produce something with just the three of us. It makes the process really streamlined and simple.
Yeah.
Does give the music a lot of space, you know. There's really four people in the recording because there's Dan in the recording. So it was like a four-piece, really. The writing and demoing process was the three of us, and then it was great having Dan add the bits that he does and turn it into a four-piece.
Dan has a very uncluttered approach, doesn't he, on his production? I mean, did that come into as a factor, as it was just you three? You know, it was kind of not a stripped down version, but a more simple version of ACR.
Yeah, he has got Dan's philosophy is not overdubbing too much stuff. He likes to get the basic backing track sounding good as the bed of the track, and then he's not really interested in doing 5 vocal harmonies or 3 guitar overdubs. He kept the vocal really simple, and like, say for argument's sake, when Jez was recording, he'd do 1 track of vocal, 1 take, and then Dan would decide on which bits needed doubling, or he would double the whole thing and use that doubling track as an effect track, like with an effect on it buried into the track. So, you know, even as far as doubling goes, there's not a lot of that. But there are some songs with backing vocals and stuff, but it's not overdub heavy, you know. We overdub bits of percussion, the odd guitar here and there, keyboards, and kept it really simple.
Where did the idea for the title come from? Because, you know, you look at it and you think, God, it's so relevant now. I mean, I know you were working on this album a while ago, but that title is so, with what's going on in the world, it's so relevant. Where did the idea come from for the title?
The idea came when we were going home. We'd finished the recording, and something else Dan wanted us to listen to. We went back to his studio to go and pick up some gear and stuff, and Dan's working on something that we were kind of working on, and we were all buzzing about it when we heard that. So we're on our way home, you know, going back to London on a total high, you know, because we've just had a brilliant week recording with him, etc. And we sat in the car and we were like, right, what are we going to call this album? What does it sound like? And we were just going through names. And I can't remember, it was Jez or Martha, it definitely wasn't me, came up with that. Because one of the tracks is called, it doesn't have an it in front of it, you know. It's one of those little things as well. All Comes Down to This is the song, but the album title was It All Comes Down to This, which is what you're saying. It's relevant about everything now. And for me, it was a great title because whenever you say it, whatever decade, it's going to resonate.
I mean, we know you guys work so collaboratively. I mean, we've seen you live so many times, but is that the same for the lyrics as well, Jez? Is that, you know, or are you the main lyricist, or is it a joint effort? Because I know musically you guys put it all together, but
yeah, most of the lyrics are mine. But Don wrote and sang on one tune, and Martin contributes to the lyrics. Keep It Really wrote the lyrics, and Yeah, so we collaborate. It depends, most of the time it's left to me to sort of do it because I'm sort of the main singer. But we all contribute. And if somebody decides to write them, and they're good, that's the main criteria. If it's good, then use it.
Sure.
I mean, the thing with ACR, there's so many different styles within your music. I mean, you have there's the new wavy stuff, and there's the jazz stuff, and there's the funk stuff. And we've seen you a few times. We saw you at the Moth Club last year, and we saw you at the Garage, and you all change around your instruments, and it's like having 4 different bands on the stage, and it's kind of you can plug in to get a different feel depending on who's playing what. Is that a conscious thing when you're writing songs? I mean, do you all write individual songs and then it works itself out, or how do some songs fall jazzy, funky, and some songs fall like electronic or new wavy?
Wow, that's a good question. That all songs start from an initial idea, right? It could be a bass line, it could be a guitar riff, or it could be an electronic drum beat or an organic drum beat from Don. So if it's from an electronic drum beat, like say something like Yo-Yo G, like an electronic drum beat, but it's actually Don playing, but made to sound electronic, and a cowbell riff. And then from that 4 on the floor driving 124 BPM is built an electronic track, because that rhythm suits a dancey track. I'll give you a good example. When we wrote Get a Grip on the album ACR Loco, we'd just been listening to, was it Bus Stop?
It was Chaka Khan Bus Stop, and the original Bus Stop as well. Oh, yeah.
And we just said, right, let's do a song at that tempo, which is a really slow 4 on the floor groove with like disco-y hi-hats. So Don started playing that drum beat, and then we built a song around that. So the initial idea can be one little thing, and we don't know where the tune's going to go. It just gets developed. Someone can bring an idea in that's very basic, or someone can bring an idea in that's finished almost. If it's finished, it'll sound like that person. So if Jez brings an idea in, it sounds like a Jez tune. If Donald brings an idea in, it sounds like a Donald tune. Then the job is to ACR-fy it. So we don't want it to sound like a Jez tune. We want it to sound like an ACR tune. So then the other 2 put their elements in, which will sort of just change it enough to be like ACR. And that could be the simple thing like a trumpet, on the track, gives it an ACR feel. Or a bass line on a Donald idea gives it an ACR feel because it's Jez's bass, or my guitar, or Donald's drums. You just put the one of those elements in, and it sounds like ACR straight away.
Hot summer nights, Muhammad Ali fights. He always gets the hype just right. Madison Square Garden's the place to be, with just my imagination, my dad, and me. People in flats with deep house envy. I couldn't give a fuck. I got the music I love. I don't live in a ghetto. I don't live in a hood.
I can't think of any other band like you guys where, depending on your configuration, the song can go in any direction. Seeing you live, especially, that's really apparent live.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you, like Martha says, you don't really, you don't know where it's going, and that's part of the beauty of it all. You don't know what direction it's going to take. I mean, there's certain things I love, like, for instance, on ACR, MCR, the sort of Martin's drum programming on some things that I love, and he approaches it in a way that I wouldn't. So I just leave it alone because I'm not trying to make it me. I'm like learning a new element and going, hey, I really like that. You can add something else to it. And that's, I think what you're looking for, the answer you need is, we know how not to get in our own way.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know, because there's 18 musicians between the three of us. There's 3 producers sat in the room. There's, we're all multi sort of musicality. We're being in different projects and all kinds of things. But we've learned how not to get in each other's way. Yeah. And that's the great thing. So it happens very quickly, and an element when we know it's working. It's like Martin said about coming up with the idea for that. It was literally listening to Chaka Khan do her version of that cover and going, we really like the tempo of that. Let's try something around there.
This might be urban myth. I've read in a couple of reviews that apparently the bulk of the 10 tracks took 12 hours to lay down. That can't be true, can it?
Yeah, when we got to Dan's,
wow,
we basically just wanted to put all the backing tracks down, guitar, bass, and drums, the 3 of us playing together. And yeah, we had all the 10 tunes down within the first day and a half. So about 12 hours recording. Yeah, I think that's about accurate, really.
Wow.
Yep.
And then after that, it was just like Martin said, is putting the vocals on and little bits of guitar, little bits of keyboard, a little bit backing vocal, and that's it. But basically, yeah, we had it recorded within a day and a half.
Oh wow, I'm so impressed because for people that haven't heard it yet, that makes it incredible because it is a fantastic piece of work you guys have done. It really is.
Especially when some albums take months to record, and you guys put the backbone down in a day.
Well, that's one thing we liked about Dan is Speedy Wonder. That was what they were known for: getting a band in, recording them one day, and then producing it the next day. So that's his meat. That's his style is working quickly. Yeah. And same with us. We've got really a lot quicker as we've got older. Because we sort of, the decisions are made quicker. And the choices are made quicker.
With this speed, I mean, obviously, when we met Martin and Donald last year, they said this album was already in the can. Surely, is album number 14? I might be surprised if you say yes, it is, Andy.
No, it's not. It's nowhere near. The weird thing is, again, the thing I love about being in this band is that we're already starting to get itchy because we're already starting to talk about ideas and directions and feels and whatever. But because we've got the tour coming up, we're not doing anything in any kind of way or going into any detail about anything that's kind of cooking with us. And it's just a nice flavour to know that you're kind of on the same page about some of the ideas. So we're just letting it percolate. We're just leaving it kind of there, not getting too heavy about what the ideas are. But we've got some ideas.
Who's done this? Who's done that? I know the power where it's at. Make you believe the world is flat. Can you feel it coming on strong? Keep it real now. On the one.
We touched on it a few moments ago about the title of this album, and it is a very political album. I mean, there's wars going on, the environmental issues, there's politicians, it's just one thing after another. One of the things as well is AI. What's your views on AI in music at the moment?
It's like any technical development, you can't really stand in the way of it. So I suppose the thing to do is actually use it yourself. We had a few videos out that were AI generated last year. I know for a fact that we have looked at AI when writing lyrics. It's going to happen, isn't it? So you may well use it. I mean, in the software that we use, AI is used all the time. So we've been using AI for quite a while. We all use something at the moment where it's on DJing software where you can take out the drums, you can take out the guitar, take out the vocals of a track which is AI driven. So yeah, I think it's useful in a lot of ways. The scary thing about AI is the way that it's used for disinformation, not for music. The harm that AI does is brainwashing people, especially, it's quite easy to brainwash people with images that aren't real. It's really easy to fool people. People have been fooled in music for years. I mean, look at Boney M. So why not develop a Boney M using AI? It's been done in real life. Manufactured bands have been about for years. So you may as well just manufacture them through AI. If Stock Aitken and Portman were going now, they'd be AI producers.
There'd be one every week, wouldn't they?
God, yeah, there was.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that there'd be one whole brand new concept every week.
It's true what you say, Martin. I mean, the AI with misinformation is the serious thing, to the population. In music, I mean, we get sent a lot of music because of the channel and everything, and people use AI, and it's John Lennon singing, a lullaby, or it's just kind of like lazy AI, and I guess I remember when I bought my first sampler, and when sampling first come out, it was a bit like the Wild West, really. You was literally just nicking chunks of stuff and putting it in a song, whereas sampling got cleverer, manipulating it, reversing it, tweaking it, so it wasn't recognizable, and sampling found its own level. So perhaps AI in music may find its own level, and it may speed things up or help the artist.
Yeah, it's a good point, because sampling eventually became illegal, didn't it?
Yeah.
So once AI is getting hammered, there must surely in the future be the AI police and copyright people who will make certain things illegal.
What you said about it being the old kind of the Wild West thing, it always is with new technologies. They always start off as something that's really just out there. No one's found the way for it at all now. And I think you guys are bang on about the misinformation thing. On Sunday, me and my wife were looking at the iPad, going through things, and then this thing pops up of J-Lo. We both looked at each other and went, "That's not real." We could tell straight away that it wasn't a real thing.
Yeah.
But there was so many elements of J-Lo in it that was reminiscent of J-Lo, right? So if you were just thinking, that's J-Lo straight away. Now, let's take it the other way. It was trying to be flattering, but it was overtly sexy. Now, she's got a family and, and children and all sorts of things. What happened if that image pops up when it wasn't anything rude or anything? But imagine you've got a family, your family sees that, and you start getting phone calls. "Hey, you hanging out with such and such, or doing blah blah blah," all those kind of things. Now you've got to start answering questions. The minute you start being defensive about not being it, people are assuming that you're there, and that's when this information, like Marty's just said. I think my eyes are getting smart enough now, in some cases, to recognize when it's not there. I.e., the first thing I look for is fingers. They can't do fingers, can they? They're still doing 6 fingers. It can't do fingers. It can do eyes, flesh tones, ears, all kinds of little things it can get going. So there's little things now that I can recognize that there. And I think that'll creep in every day in the same way that, remember when people used to say, "Oh, I don't like that. It sounds too digital." They didn't like it being not analog. They couldn't say that word. But then CDs came around and they got used to it. And they kind of, but their ears were still smart enough to recognize something's not quite happening there.
Tips for teens and no surprise. Your location is your demise. You
Jez, I just think I know you guys have got the tour imminently, and it goes on for a while. But anything planned for later on in the year as well? Because I know you guys do that quite a bit. Sometimes you do quite a big tour and then some other shows later in the year. Is that something in the plans, or is it just all hands focused on this current tour?
Yeah, we've got a few gigs at the end of the year. We've got a few festivals, I think. Berlin, we've got a festival, Reading, we're playing Kendall Calling. Kendall Calling, Tim Burgess has invited us to do that. We're excited about that because we're going to record that performance as well. So that's exciting. Yeah.
In 2017, you guys signed to Mute Records after a decade break. You signed to Mute Records. Originally, it was going to be a back catalogue kind of arrangement, but you guys have been really prolific. You've done 3 albums, you've done a remix album, you've done a live album, loads of EPs. It seems like a perfect fit at Mute at the moment for you guys. I mean, it seems to be working really well.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about Mute is it's a very small record label. You know, there's not many people there, so you're dealing with every member of the Mute team on a day-to-day basis. I mean, we deal with Paul on a day-to-day basis, but then we'll be dealing with Anis, who does the marketing, Martha, who does the social media, Zoe, who does our press, you know, and there's a really good small team around ACR help drive what we're doing. You know, we come up with all the ideas and the music and everything, but the outlet for that is what we need, and the sort of strategic foresight to see how that would work in the marketplace, and Mute are just really good at that. They're great at giving us artistic freedom and encouragement, and they're great at your name here, your product here, your name here.
Yeah, Mute is one of my favorite labels anyway, but I mean, they package your stuff really lovely. I mean, 1982, I think I bought it twice because I had the orange one, and then I saw the smoky one. And I thought, oh, that looks really nice as well. So I bought that one as well. But it's in, whether it's Loco, yeah, they're all packaged like really beautifully.
Yeah, well, you've got Trevor Johnson to thank for that. Trevor Johnson and Craig Johnson, who do the graphics and design our sleeves. On the new album, Victoria Topping's done the artwork. Trevor and Craig have still done the rest of it. And then you've got Paul, who gets that and thinks of all the ideas. What color vinyl should we have? What inserts should we give to Rough Trade? What inserts should we give to other independent record shops? How can we make that little package go further? Let's include some seeds in it that you can plant. Let's press it bio vinyl. Let's make the plastic biodegradable. That all came from, I went on a course for sustainability in the music business. And I went back to Paul and I said, Paul, we don't want to do cassettes anymore. And he said, why? So I said, because nobody listens to them. And when they end up in landfill, they're just all made of plastic. So what's the point in producing something that is just getting wasted? True. And when he came up with the idea for bio-vinyl and biodegradable products, you know, and the seeds as well. So just my little one pet hate turned into something really good, and that idea came from Paul. So, you know, it's great having those creative minds behind you, you know, and yeah, it is a team, and it's Team ACR, you know.
Obviously, the secret now is, mate, do more coloured vinyl so Mark can keep buying more albums.
As long as they don't biodegrade and I have to buy them all again.
Maybe that's what I'll, yeah.
It's It's a marketing thing. They disappear after 10 years and you have to buy them again.
See where you're coming from, where you're going to. Well, it can't be wrong. See all the things you've done, all the good and bad. Put them in a song. Every time I see your face, every line leads to that place.
Jez, I'm just thinking about the new album. I mean, I think that, and you know, shout me down if you think I'm wrong. It does show a nod to some of your early work, but it's also shown, for me, it sounds like a massive desire to drive your sound forward. Do you think that's a fair call?
I think it was more, we wanted it to be different from Loco in 1982. And I think by reverting to the three of us, just by that process, it has made it different from the previous two albums, which is that was what we wanted to happen. And also the way that Dan was involved and his input on the album. It was almost like going back to the beginning, but obviously we're much more developed as musicians and producers ourselves. But it was refreshing to record the album this way, i.e. we got 10 tunes together. Well, we got about 12 tunes together, sent the demos to Dan, honed it down to 10. And then, like I say, we went in and recorded them in 12 hours. That impetus gave the album a really strong feel, which I think is there, yeah.
I've got one more question for you, Don. So when obviously see you guys live, and Mark mentioned you guys interchange on stage. Is that the same when you're in the studio? Just when you're...
Not as phonetically. It's a lot smoother. Yeah, different people can play different things from time to time. Yeah, people can do that if someone's not quite getting something or going somewhere else, or it might be, just assisting each other, really. One of the reasons as well what was recorded in 12 hours, we went there highly rehearsed, yeah, like we used to be. You know, the level of rehearsing was right up there. And for me, I was like thinking of us being like the Funk Brothers for Motown, how all that Motown crew was just ready, went to the studio, right, this is what we're doing, here's the dots, here's the thing. And that was pretty much us, because we didn't know how Dan would manipulate the song with us being in there. He might say, just do 2 verses and go straight to the chorus, or that, we didn't know that. So we needed to make sure we knew it all really, down, so that if he worked like that, he didn't, but we were ready for it. Dan was actually going through some of the literally doing sound checks on things, and I was just playing away, and he's like, right, we're ready, let's go. And I'm like, well, what? Hold on, I'm not in the mood yet. I'm just warming up to it. And he was like, come on, no, we're ready, let's go. We'll do a take to check that there's right, boom, it's done, yeah. And it was literally that. So again, it didn't give you time to get back into the think thing. You were just in the mode, and that's what you wanted all the time.
Why do we settle for this? We should be hoping for that. And this world is our only place to live. We need taking it back. And in this confusion, keep on moving, with the rhythm. It's always good.
Martin, you're going on tour in a week's time. Are you playing the whole album on the tour? Is that in the set list, or?
Yes. So for the very first time in our 7-year career, we are playing the album in its entirety.
Wow.
Dave Simpson, who writes for The Guardian, said that when he first saw us when he was 15, he said that 2 Each was just out, and he went to this gig, his first ACR gig, expecting to hear 2 Each, and we were playing I'd Like to See You Again.
The next album.
This time we're going to give the fans the current album. Yes, we're going to play the whole album in its order.
Yep.
So that's the album is. And then straight after that, we're going to play at least 10 to 12 ACR live favorites. So it's like, it's not the old and the new, it's the new and the old. Yeah, we're really excited about it. We played the new album live twice. We did an in-store for Piccadilly Records and our album launch party on Saturday just gone. And then we played at Rough Trade Nottingham. And all the people that were there just like were absolutely bowled over by how good it sounded live. You know, the beauty of recording an album is you rehearse it, you demo it, you record it, and then you rehearse it for live, and all the little tiny things that you think might not be quite right with it, you get better, and then it just turns into this live beast that's better than the album, you know.
Yeah, we're going to try and come down to Fabric, the London show. It'd be really good to hear it live.
What do you mean try, Mark?
Huh?
Right.
We went to the Moth Club last year, and that was the most packed gig that I've been to for years. It was, you couldn't move in the audience there. It was so packed.
Life to this, I wait to find that death exists in utero and morning bliss, and it all comes down to this. Schedule of accounts to bear. Hey,
Look, this has been an absolute honour for us, as it always is. You know, we're loving the album. As I said before, you know, 1982 was number 3 in our top 30 albums of the year. So I think, you know, without doubt, this is going to be right up there. So let's see. But honestly, guys, absolutely amazing. For all our friends at Electronic Cafe, you haven't got a copy yet, you really should, because it is just, I'm not going to say too much, because, but I just think it's one of the best things I've heard this year. Absolutely. And me and Mark listen to a lot of music, but you just absolutely smashed it out of the park. And I'm say to anyone watching this, which is, you know, a few thousand people, grab a copy, because you won't regret it. It's fantastic.
But guys, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. I know you're really busy at the moment. The album's only just come out, and you're probably doing a lot of promo as well as rehearsing, as we're getting ready for the gig. But genuinely love the album. Also, you've had some good reviews. I mean, you mentioned the Guardian. You mentioned the Guardian a few moments ago. There's a good review in the Guardian for the album. It's getting some stellar reviews. I haven't seen a bad one yet.
No, it'll come. It always does. Don't worry, we love it. It's perfect for where we are at the moment, and it's a perfect kind of transition.
No, guys, absolute pleasure. Always a joy to talk to you guys, and we'll see you at Fabric. It won't be if, we will be there.
Okay, guys, it'd be nice to see you.
No,
Cheers,
we'll
guys,
be there.
thanks for your time.
Yeah,
Thank
cheers.
you.
Okay.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, guys.
See you
See
guys.
you guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye,
Number
guys.
1, this album in your chart.
It just might be. You never know.